Independence Day festivities took up the calendar for Friday, but at Old McDonald's farm near Sackett's Harbor, a different type of celebration took up the weekend. It is called Big Trucks and Tractors Weekend. And 7 News reporter Chad Charette was in attendance.
Pigs are racing, kids are on ziplines, and hayrides? Well, they're a given. This holiday weekend, however, different kinds of vehicles have taken center stage at Old McDonald's farm.
Construction equipment, a feed truck, a logger, even like diesel pickup trucks, some from some car dealerships.
Big Trucks and Tractors Weekend is pretty self-explanatory. Families and folks of all ages were able to get up close and personal with a fleet of heavy-duty vehicles sourced from local businesses. That's an exciting prospect for the Hoffman family and their matching John Deere hats. They came up from Syracuse.
The kids love tractors, so we wanted to have them experience it firsthand.
They have a John Deere Power Wheels every day when it's nice out. They ask me if we can go mow the lawn, so I have to go mow the lawn more often than I think I need to, but they just want to drive around, so that's great.
Great indeed, but fun isn't the only reason the farm decided to host Big Trucks and Tractors. There's also an educational angle.
So our Big Trucks and Tractors is a way for people to come and see all the modern equipment that's used for modern agriculture, and also like all the trucks that support our communities.
Aiding in the education is the New York Animal Agriculture Coalition with its traveling dairy experience. Inside, visitors are able to learn about how the dairy industry contributes to the state's economy and to the lives of average New York residents. They can even take a crack at milking a cow.
One of our goals is to educate the public about agriculture in a fun but informative way.
Big Trucks and Tractors Weekend ran through Sunday, July 6th. Once it wrapped, the animals took center stage once again. Chad Charette, 7 News.